Yeah.
how's business keeping up with you guys? Are you starting
We
to
had
see
like
stuff?
we had like a terrible first 10 days of the after the announcements all came in the US and UK, and then things have just kind of been normal since. New business coming in at the normal rate. So I think, the end of this year anyway, we won't see anything in the books that show anything happened at all. I'm
It
more
looks like
worried about.
one of you guys is sharing your screen. I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
do that.
I gotta do that. It's just a few seconds. I'll cut it out and we're done.
Okay, cool.
I don't think. I'm more worried about next year if the economy gets really bad, and
Yeah, you
I'm more
mean
worried
like
about the bounce back than I am about the short term right now.
yeah,
Because in our industry, everyone was working from home anyway. I mean, I feel bad for agencies that work with us that had a lot of small business clients. You know, dentists, salons, all that kind of stuff. They've obviously seen quite big drops. But the digital marketing folks, I mean, other than Amazon screwing them over, it's kind of business as usual for a lot of those guys.
yeah.
So it's more worrying about what people can spend next year than what's happening right now, business-wise, I think.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the fact that everybody's going digital with their workforce and a lot of their marketing, that for us in the digital marketing community,
Seeing quite big drops.
trickle down and it'll continue being business as usual. I think growth obviously is going to be more difficult in 2021.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
projecting
think.
0% for this year growth.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
you say,
But I'll take that.
well, yeah, you got to be really observant of, obviously you want to probably grow, but in something like this that's rather unprecedented for anybody our age or anything, it's like you maintain a business in a volatile industry and you have no loss, or even if you're down 5%, it's like, I think that's kind of a win. Unless
yeah.
you're some, titan of industry that managed to pull off some sort of growth,
Yeah, I agree. We're projected right now because of COVID to be down this year like 15% compared to the last three. But that's fine.
I don't think you will be, though. I think you'll end up about even.
Yeah.
I think you'll end up about even. Because like
Yes.
writing
What I
as
did
well.
yesterday is I figured out like a footprint to identify every single message that was ever sent via email from the contact form on our website. So then I scraped all those name and email addresses from the contact form messages, and I have, a lead list of 5,000 emails to hit now. So we're gonna hit them
I
up.
like that idea.
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
goes
do
all the way
same.
back to 2014. But we're gonna hit them up with like a discounted offer to like kind of reactivate them as clients, and hopefully, that helps a little bit.
Cool.
But anyway, what else is going on with you guys?
Not much.
Yeah.
I've been walking a lot.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess this is our first show. We relaunched Word Agents on 420. So I was doing pretty good with the exercise bike up until that. It's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks since the relaunch, but hoping to get back on do like the exercise bike for like an hour a day. I feel better after I do it too. It's just a matter of forcing myself to sit my ass down and just ride the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to watch the eating a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
It's too.
I worked at home for pretty much a month of April or so, about 3.5 weeks, and I got back into bad habits of fucking eating all the time.
I don't know if do you guys like play PlayStation or Xbox?
No.
We can play online. I've been like right before bed. I play like online with my friends, but I have my bottle of scotch right there, so it's always like two glasses of scotch per night. That's not doing me any favors.
Well, that's the minimum acceptable amount. You need to up that to 5.
Yeah. That might get a little
lockdown ration is 5 to 6 per night. After lockdown, you can cut down to 2 again.
Steve, we have a question in the chat from Mr. Bynum86. He asked you, how difficult is it to stay under the radar, still buy links? How aggressive are you guys with anchor text?
I mean, I think we're diversifying into buying links from places that aren't traditionally selling links or sell very few of them, because the number of agencies that used to do PBNs that are now link buyers and have just really the same list of 200-300 sites. Obviously, some sites that we'll work with will be on that list, some won't, but we're trying to diversify to where more and more of our work in that area is the kinds of sites that people aren't buying links on. I can't really say too much more about that at the moment, because everyone else in the industry is just a copycat, so they can figure it out themselves first. Once at least 2 or 3 of our main competitors are doing the stuff we're doing, then I'll talk about it then. But yeah, we're just trying to diversify where we buy the links from. We don't, I mean, obviously we have totally separate products. We have clients that buy paid links from us and clients who buy unpaid links. If they're buying unpaid links, I think we're the only big agency that 100% guarantees none of your links will be paid for, even if it's like $5 the webmaster wants. And there's no one else will guarantee that because they're all too worried they'll never finish a hard campaign. Whereas, we'll be slow sometimes on the natural side if it's a really hard campaign, but we'll always get all the links in without cheating. Whereas at least 2 of our main competitors buy, half the links they end up doing on an outreach campaign. And we know that because of ex-staff there moving to us over the years. So as aggressive as the clients want us to be, and the same on anchor text, we don't do consulting. So unless someone asks for something totally mental, we just do as we're asked to in terms of delivery. So we'll be as aggressive as the client wants. We don't give our opinion unless you ask for something really insane.
Yeah, and I've used Reach Creator for my affiliate sites and now Word Agents for years. And I can say from experience, I am a picky jerk when it comes to my links, and I've never had any problems with Reach Creator links. And traffic increase.
You're our least annoying client, then.
Yeah, I try not to be. I know the past couple of months I've been getting on your ass, but I try not to be annoying. But yeah, Reach Creator links always solid. And if you don't like something, these guys, great service. So you can always chat them up.
Cool. So I see, what is this Build, Scale, Sell Summit that you're speaking in and never told me about? And I see Mr. Elfring's in there. That's about the only 2 names I recognize.
My buddy Tommy from, he's got a Facebook group called Service Business Ballers. And basically it's just kind of like a mastermind for operating a service agency. So he's doing a digital virtual summit from May 25th to June 3rd. And I am a part of it. My session, I talk about strategic partnerships and kind of like how I link up with complementary services in the digital marketing industry to generate referral business. So that was my presentation. But there's a lot of good presenters on here. We got Greg that we all know. Mad Singers is on there.
Oh yeah, I missed him. Right next to Greg.
Chris Yates, a lot of good guys. Cool. So it's a digital event. If you sign up for the actual live showing of the recordings, we'll be in the live chat to answer questions. If not, you'll get the recordings and you can just watch them at your leisure.
What day are you on?
Looks like I'm day 3, I think. Let me just double check here.
Nope.
Maybe day 4.
Mads is day 3. You were not day 4.
The hell am I?
You were not day
4. Maybe
5.
they forgot.
How does it work? Are they just like emailing out 3
6.
links to videos a day, or is it like a live thing? Or
I've already recorded my sessions, so they're pre-recording the sessions, and then they're doing a live chat with the presenter.
So you'll be there for us to heckle if we come along.
Yeah. He said he chopped it up into like question and answer format. So I don't know if I'll be goofing too much there, but yeah, you can come bust my chops if you want.
We won't, don't worry. Well, we might watch, but we won't bust your chops.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. I think Garrett's got some kind of interview coming up or something, haven't you, Garrett?
Well, I had done one I did one with Michael from Pitchbox and Miss BB and Jason Morris and I feel bad, the guy from Ozzyland. I don't know him very well. It's on the Pitchbox website. We did like link building during coronavirus, stuff. Just like a brief chat for like half an hour, and I feel terrible that I want to say his name's Oliver, but that's not right. I don't think.
Nice.
Oh yeah, just four of us, just talking about what we're up to and.
I'm actually going to be on. Have you guys ever heard of the All About Digital Marketing podcast?
Who runs that one? I've heard of it.
I think it's like it only exists on iTunes. It's run by Social Inc. It's Chris Bruno.
Okay.
I'll be on that one on May 12th. Honestly, I have no idea what the topic is. I think it's just kind of like interview style, and they, just open conversation type of deal.
Yeah, I've actually taken a bit of a step back from a lot of the marketing, social media stuff for now. Kind of just really fed up with most of it.
Yeah,
he's finally joined me.
We
I never
did
know
that
anyone
too.
what's going on.
But now with the relaunch and the new pricing structure, it's like I kind of got to be out there and let people know. So I'm going to be doing podcasting, and if I can get.
I thought
your
bulk pricing was really strong. I thought it's quite an appealing price point you picked.
Yeah, thank you. It's been going very well, and it was always tough for us to offer the lower end of the spectrum for the affiliate marketers. So we still offer that pricing, but at a bulk rate. And it seems to be working out well because our credits never expire. So you can buy 20,000 words for 6 cents a pop and work through those credits over time. And people seem to be liking it so far. And the best part about it, I don't have to send manual invoices to every client anymore, and it all just happens automatically.
I was going to say I haven't got invoices from you for like the last 3 years. Can you regenerate and send them please?
Yeah. No.
No, we were actually just about to raise prices this spring because we hadn't done so for about a year. And then, we made the decision with the virus and everything that we were going to hold off until things level out. But,
we have launched some. We have started. We did kind of soft launch some higher priced, more premium things though, which people are buying. So that's kind of as good as a price rise, effectively. So, I think our average price has gone up anyway, even with everything going on. But like Garrett says, obviously disappointing to, demand has been softened because a lot of agencies aren't buying as many links because their clients have got their doors shut.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone in the industry that's service related is definitely taking some sort of hit. And what do you do? It's just the right thing to do.
This is what I call bin luck because I always tend to have issues like this happen to me. It's like I worked for 6 months on this launch, and as we get ready for the launch, a fucking pandemic of biblical proportion hits us. So I had the choice to be there
6 months ago.
Yeah, I had.
Well, I had the VIN luck in the last global recession with my my mortgage brokerage. I just started hiring brokers, and I was just chilling down into like, oh wow, I'm going to start earning at least $250,000 a year, and it's going to be ramping up pretty quick. And then the whole mortgage industry collapsed, and so I had the VIN.
Well, we had the choice of either launching or delaying the launch. But you know what? I think launching was the best idea because we put our sales and marketing plan into motion, and I think that's going to protect our butts during this craziness.
Yeah, I think like Carter was saying on Builder Society, you just keep doing what you would be doing if this wasn't happening, unless what you were doing was impossible, and you won't get as good results. But if you just sit and do nothing, you're guaranteeing that you'll get worse or no results, won't you? So I think you're absolutely right to have done it. Plus, it's a good reason to be talking about yourself. Like the new website looks great, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. The new site you've got.
Thanks, buddy.
It gave me website envy though, because ours hasn't been refreshed for about 5 years now. So it desperately needs kind of.
That seems to be my cycle. Like every 4 to 5 years, it's about time for a new website. But
We have a
hopefully
lot of new services that aren't even mentioned on our website. The pricing only has a couple of products. It still generates us a lot of leads, considering how few people visit it. Like most people that visit it are putting in some kind of inquiry, either like one of us on Skype or in one of the communities we're in, or filling in the form if they're a random person that's just discovered us. But they always have a lot of questions that they shouldn't really have. Like we should have answered them already. So time to put a bit of work in, I think, on.
Yeah. Well, you know who to talk to, man. The one and only for the design, Mr. Jared.
Yeah, we might have. I might not have time this time. I'm really struggling for time these days to be doing things myself. So
yeah,
we might have to bring in some help.
He just gets it. Like it's somewhat of a mind meld. I didn't really have to tell him much as far as direction. Just showed him some examples and a few specifics, and he ran with it. But
yeah, the thing I like about him is he focuses on speed. And there's nothing worse than the site looks exactly how you want, but it takes 2 minutes to load the homepage. And
yeah,
exactly. I'd rather like have someone who missed a couple of features off and it was like lightning fast and still looked good.
Yeah, and we kept that in mind from the get-go. So all of our graphics are lightweight SVG graphics, for the sake of speed, and all of our style guides and all that, style sheets and everything is really lightweight. I think we were grading out at like 95% speed on mobile, which is like unheard of. So I'm really happy with the performance of the site.
Whereas ours is built by me and Divi.
Yeah.
It's about
I can't mess with it. I'm just not a design guy. I don't have the mind for it. Yeah. Like I'll draw something on Microsoft Paint and then think it's.
I can look at something and tell you if it's good or not, but if I have to try to come up with something, it's like, oh fuck, this is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump into the news.
Yeah. So first up, Steven, our boy Paul Shapiro is commenting on the update earlier this morning. That's pretty much what the show is about, even with the main topic and everything. But yeah, a big update on the 5th a couple days ago. I know our skincare site was at record numbers after bouncing back in February or whatever it was. Of course, after obtaining peak numbers, we have once again took a 50 to 60% cut in traffic. And
at least we're always at a new higher minimum though. Yeah. We're going in the right direction all the time. So
Nick Eubanks had commented that he's seeing a lot of first-tier medical publishers like Healthline or some of the big healthcare sites got a nice bump, which would explain
they got hammered before, so I guess they're just taking back some position, aren't they?
And then Paul Shapiro said Marie Haynes was reporting something similar regarding health sites. Paul's game board site apparently took a big hit, which I have never looked at it, so I don't know what. I saw in the digital assets group, someone was saying they thought authority might have gotten dialed back, because I think last time we were talking about, sites with huge authority really just got a bump for no reason as long as you had authority, and less authoritative sites kind of got knocked down at the bottom of page 1. But I haven't had really time to look
and after you said that, I looked at a bunch of like the really aggressive product review type sites that launch and grow really quickly, but it's all like really long guides on like a best baby diaper type thing, and it's like best baby diaper for small babies, and they've got like this really massive guide and stuff like that, and they've just hammered it with links, and in 6 months they've gone from like no traffic to 20,000 a month. I found loads of examples of those new aggressively authoritative sites taking a drop in this update. I found quite a few examples, not in that niche specifically. I'm not outing anyone's real business here or anything. That's why I probably came up with a ridiculous example, because it's not real. But saw a lot of drops in those kind of sites, and that kind of tied in with what Garrett was saying, that they've dialed back pure authority, and they're looking for some of the other factors as being more important. But we've also seen older authoritative sites do really well. So age, I think, and how long you've had the authority is becoming a factor. And someone on Twitter, I forget who now, so apologies to whoever made the joke. I was just scrolling through and forgot to bookmark it. They described this as the query demand staleness update because of the amount of old pages with really outdated reviews and content that have jumped to page one. They've got reviews for like I forget what example it was, but it was like a new tech product, and it was a review of the old version of it from 2015 that's now jumped onto page one, and things like that have happened in this update. So query demand staleness, I love it. I will try and find it again, but I guess you can just search Twitter and see.
It's interesting. You're just talking about tech because Michael, sorry if I say this wrong, Michael Managahan said
that's Mike from my site. You know, Mike.
I thought his last name was Thomas or something.
No, it's his middle name.
Did Michael tell you that we're gonna start a Bakudo 2 in Minnesota?
Yeah, God. Last I heard, he's starting Word Agents but with a Z instead of an X.
It's going to be like a version of your restaurant, but open.
Yeah. If you want to get infected with the coronavirus, that's where you go. You go to the open Bakudo.
Yeah.
But me and Mike's site, we were at all-time highs for traffic between March and April. We were like 75% up from previous highs. And I thought we made it through this update, but as of the change between yesterday and today was a 32% drop.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let it shake out, and then.
I think this is one of those updates that's not going to stick in its entirety. I think it's caused some pretty humorous results and some. Like I imagine Paul's site is the kind of site that should be ranking well because. One, I'm sure, like even though it's a hobby site, he was technically sound on it. Like I can't imagine he made a complete Mongol mess of it. Like he's way too smart to have had it just be anything other than pretty decent on the technical side. And like it's something he was passionate about, so it probably had good content. I mean, I'm assuming based on his personality type and what we know about Paul Shapiro. I mean, I just can't imagine it was anything other than those two things.
Every time I have the Paul, it's.
Yeah, like he's pretty much So I can't imagine he was. I can't imagine it was the kind of site that was deliberately they would have hoped would move down. So I think and I don't imagine they really want 2015 reviews of things that are no longer obsolete. I mean, 2015 technology, no one's buying that anymore. It's obsolete. I'm sure they don't want that appearing and. So I think this is one we're going to see a lot of dialing back and a lot of change. And like you said, when you do get hit by an update, like all those health sites that got hit in the medic, they've had to be patient, but they're getting dialed up in this one. Look at us, we're having a lot of chop on our, because we're shilling random skincare products. We're the kind of site that's on the radar for being pretty thin, to say the least, I guess. Topically and random celebrity articles and all kinds of stuff we've tried putting on there. We've had a lot of chop, but we're always chopping to a higher point. So I think generally, and we've seen it before in the drug treatment industry, the players that kept trucking and kept building, kept adding content, they were the ones that didn't enter the death spiral, whereas people that kind of panic and stop everything, it's kind of, if you just keep drifting down, you never even get back to where you were, let alone get back to growth. So I think unless you're planning on giving up on your site, you just have to take these because when you zoom out the graph in 5 years' time, all of this craziness here just looks like that first bit of your graph that goes up all the time. You kind of don't remember the pain in the early times and the chop, and
you've
seen it so much in so many industries, guys with 1 million visitors a month that had 70% drops 4 times along the way due to these updates. So I think you just have to, if there's a lesson, like something that everyone's going to have to adjust to, then like with content, we all went from 300-word articles with bold, italic, and underlining to having to pay people like word agents to write something that's 2,000 words and someone actually spent more than 10 minutes on. Like we all had to adapt to that, and that was something that's. So when there's a lesson, I think you have to learn from it, but I think you just have to keep moving. Otherwise, choose to give up on the site you're working on and don't do anything with it ever again.
Yeah, and I got to say that we haven't changed our strategy at all since the launch of the site in question, and we've weathered several of these core updates and some mini updates in between. And while we're not banking hard on this site yet, nothing through all those updates has tanked us completely. It's always just been like 20% drops. I think at worst we had a 50% drop on the very first like global core update that came back within like a few weeks. So I think as long as you're putting out good content and good links, you're going to be okay. It's just weathering these storms and, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing.
I think the reason it'll affect people more this time is just the timing. It's the same as the Amazon. Like, first COVID came, then Amazon kicked all these people in the balls.
Yeah.
Now there's been a core update. Some people, they might have only seen a 30% drop in traffic, but they just saw a 60% drop in revenue from Amazon. People were buying less because of COVID, so they saw a drop in conversion rates. So they might be 90% down on revenue, even though they've only lost 30% traffic. So I think that's the only thing that makes the timing of all of this worse. It's kind of been a bit of a perfect storm for some people, and I can well understand why some of them might choose to shelve a project for a year because they just can't sustain spending on it or putting time into it right now, which is understandable. So I think it's a bit of a perfect storm, which we'll see some damage this time that we wouldn't have seen in some previous updates.
Yeah, I agree. All right, this other Twitter status, Google Page Insights is completely unreliable, and here's why. And he shows this Page Insights showing a 98% page speed score for the focus theme, which loads in 1.2 seconds. But it also shows a 97% score for Divi, which loads in 14.9 seconds.
Yeah, and that's fast for Divi these days.
Yeah.
I mean, on some days, for no reason, our site just takes 30 seconds to load properly. And on other days, it loads in like a couple of seconds. And we've done nothing to the server. None of the other sites on our server that aren't on Divi are loading slowly. It's just, I don't know what's wrong with that code base, but
it's like they've just kept adding on top of things through all their big revisions instead of like, oh, it's Divi version 2. This is different. Nope, we just stack more shit on top of shit. And then by the time version 3 or 4 comes out, it's like, fuck.
Yeah. This is going to set me off on a tangent about Google's tools. Just because, this is case in point that their Page Insights is unreliable, which I agree with. And all the Search Console tools are just fucking broke. Like their crawl bot that renders, everything doesn't work. And, my main problem is getting shit indexed. They're saying that the indexation bug is fixed, and it's obviously not. We uploaded the new Word Agent site. All of the static, service pages indexed fine. They were all brand new, but all of the new blog posts refused to index. And I've shown everyone the issue. Search Console says the URLs are available, but they're not actually online when you search for them on Google. And there's no rhyme or reason as to why it's happening. So pretty much I just have to wait. And I thought
is it just certain people having this issue or what?
Well, I thought it was restricted to just the new Word Agents website, but then I went and I posted a few new blog posts on the affiliate website, and that's not indexed after a few days either. So I honestly have no idea. I tweeted at, Search Liaison and Danny and everything and didn't get a response back. So right now I'm putting out new content, and it can't get indexed. And to add fuel to that fire, I'm trying to run a case study for a couple tools like Surfer SEO and Market Muse and shit like that. And now all my data is skewed because I'm not getting indexed when the articles are posted. So as of right now, all my new work is just for naught because it's not indexed. And Tristan says Search Console false positive mobile issues is another bug. That's annoying too.
You know,
Yeah.
So go ahead once. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go for it, man. It's just a cluster.
So I've been indexing stuff in Search Console just fine, so I thought. I was just going to pull up a random page I know is indexed, and I was going to test it. I was going to render it. And, okay, usually it says the URL is indexed, correct? But now it says URL is available to Google. If it gets
all right. So now you're having, that's the issue.
So
it says that it's available.
My traffic's down, all my fucking pages have gotten de-indexed?
Yeah, check them, dude. And it's probably pages within your blog role. It says it's available, but then when you go do like a site operator search or a cache operator search, it's not found.
Okay, so
interesting.
I just dumped the URL into a search and it's indexed. I'll have to look more carefully, and then I guess we can report next week.
Actually, that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't just search for the actual URL. Let me try that.
So actually, I just requested indexing again. So let me see. Okay, URLs on Google for that page. Let me try this one. My most popular page, which I know is still getting traffic. URLs on Google. So it seems at least one of my affiliate pages was not indexed anymore for some reason, but now I re-indexed it.
So I just searched for the actual URL in the Google search bar, and the blog posts aren't indexed, but the blog role is indexed, and the author page of the author that wrote the article is indexed, but not the blog post, even though the author page.
Did something goofy get into your robots.txt or something, or your?
No, my HT access, my sitemap, and my robots.txt are completely clean. They're empty. There's nothing in them.
Random related question then. Have you ever put any weight into the recommendations? I know it was really popular a few years ago that you would block your category pages, you would block your author pages from being indexed to avoid it cannibalizing traffic to the actual posts that were listed on those. Did you ever do anything like that, or did you just never bother with WordPress and assume that Google would figure it out? Because I always went with the assume Google would figure it out, but it sounds like
we know index certain pages, but it's like boilerplate pages, like the privacy policy or the terms of use. But the author pages.
No like author pages that have a load of blog posts, category pages.
No, because I'll index that because that'll make crawling easier. Because basically the author pages are just blog roles for those articles, so they'll be able to fighter through all of that author's blog posts very quickly that way.
I know a lot of people block those.
Well, you know what? My site's only 100 pages too. I don't have to worry.
Well, I was gonna say
easy to index.
I was gonna say I would think with the site being so small. Shouldn't have to worry about crawl budget at all, but then I also agree with Steve and think that Google should be smart enough to figure it out on a really small site that's less than 1,000 pages or 5,000 pages.
Yeah, but how can an author page that has the link to the blog post on it be indexed, but the blog post itself isn't indexed?
Like in your double sure that you don't have a broken link for some stupid reason or something?
I'm 100. I've gone through.
I don't know. They must have a crawling issue or something. Something. I don't know if you have to look at your server logs and they're just not. The bot's not. Stops crawling. I don't know.
That's the next thing. I gotta go to WPX and say something fucking stupid. What's that? But anyway, this brings us into the next post from Search Engine Roundtable. LinkedIn removed from Google's index, but. From what do I understand, this was LinkedIn's fault?
Well, I saw on Twitter today that they're back.
Yeah, they are. Mueller responded saying, so what they did was they wanted to, for some sort of canonical issue, they wanted to remove their HTTP version, the non-SSL version of their site from search results, which they did. But if you do that, everything from your domain gets removed from Google search results. So Mueller just said, put that back and you're good to go. And then it came back.
And that just shows even enterprise SEOs can cock up pretty bad sometimes.
Speaking of LinkedIn, we've been syndicating all of our new blog posts to the LinkedIn articles section, which has actually done really good for us for driving new leads.
Oh, really?
But now I can't do that because I can't syndicate an article so LinkedIn becomes a canonical before my actual blog post.
Oh, because you were getting indexed straight away before, so
yeah. So now the LinkedIn version would index first, and the actual real version of my website won't index. So that'll fucking set off canonical issues. So now we have to stop that until the index issue is fixed.
Like, I don't use LinkedIn a bunch. I just
get your writers to spin a new version of the article every time.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I have like 30 messages, and it's all the messages. I turned 30 on April 24th. They're all happy birthday stuff. But...
You turned 30? Oh, I wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah.
I'm almost freaking 40.
Yeah, you're not too far behind me for being a decade older.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
I'm super glad I get to spend it on lockdown instead of in Atlantic City with my dad.
It's next week, isn't it?
I'm super pleased about the change of location. It's a week away now.
Talk with you because I know you wouldn't have told me anyway. But we got our last article here. It's just talking about the core update. We already covered that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's in the chat. So yeah, I think that's everything. Did we?
I didn't have a round of the week this week just because Rand is being so dumb on Twitter. I just couldn't even bring myself to talk about some of the stuff he posts during this crisis. So.
Oh, did I forget to put that in? Forget.
Oh, did I have one? Did I have one in the end? I don't think I had one.
Everything was so old in the Slack channel.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't have a new round of the week. So I've been following him. So, everything was just so dumb. I mean, the one thing I will say, to be fair to Rand, is it does sound like his new tool, Spark Toro, has an audience, like people who find it useful. So it's maybe a little bit too harsh on the tool when we pre-reviewed it when he first announced it, because to be fair though, his first description of what it was going to be sounded really, really turd. But it seems like the actual tool is more useful. So I'll apologize for being too harsh there if it turns out to be useful in the long run to a lot of people. But other than his professional tweets about his tool, everything else has just been like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. So I just couldn't bring myself to discuss one of them on the show. But round of the week will be back next week, I'm sure. I'll make myself find one from next week. That's not too tilting.
Awesome. Well,
because that's our favorite segment. Like everyone always, like whenever we get a new lead from the show, they always mention round of the week. So.
And also next week, they are doing. Even though we're not going to be a traffic think tank in Miami, they're still doing it as a virtual event.
Yep.
So I'm sure we'll talk about that more next week. But that's next weekend.
I was so gutted that he described it as Traffic Think Tank Live. I thought, oh, he's announced the new date. I wonder when it is. I'll get my flights booked for October or whatever. And, no, it was just he meant live online, not live.
Yeah, I didn't talk to him too much about it, but just the process of refunding all the sponsors and refunding all the tickets was like hell for them. So I think that
he's a small event. Like I can totally get how that was a disaster. I mean, people people that run big conferences, like I mean, the email Brighton SEO sent out, like your ticket's been moved to October and your sponsorship's been moved to October. It's like, what are you doing? You give the money back. Like Nick 100% did the right thing. And I tweeted out about that at the time, like thanking him for being so like straight up. While all these big conferences are screwing people over, it's like, look. So like say it had been the one that you guys came over for, the Brighton SEO, and we'd sponsored it, and so you have to definitely be able to travel at some other random future date that you didn't even intend to come to.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Like, come on, you have to give the money back. Like,
and dude, I
maybe they did though since then. For some
I
people, I don't know.
almost snap sponsored Ungagged in New York when they canceled Traffic Think Tank, and I'm glad that I didn't fucking give them any money because that's what they're trying to do to the sponsors that paid them money. It was their first time in New York doing Ungagged. They were only going to sell 200 tickets, and they were charging full sponsor.
I think they only sell about 200 tickets anyway, even if they're uncapped.
Yeah, they wanted me to pay $6,000 for a sponsorship for 200 people if they sold out. Like, it was the first time in New York. I doubt that they would sell more than 100 tickets. And what happened was, I think that they didn't refund anybody. I think that they did what Brighton did and just like transferred it automatically to the next event.
It's not on. Nick was 100% above board there, so I mean, much respect to him for that.
Well, what happened with them though is, they used Eventbrite to payments, and when they canceled it, instead of Eventbrite refunding everybody, Eventbrite just sent Traffic Think Tank a bulk payment.
Oh.
And
expected. So then they had to manually go through and.
Yeah. But just think about the tax implications of getting like however much money from Eventbrite for, and there's no record of why they're sending that money.
Yeah, you gotta note everything in your books and have it. Yeah.
So annoying.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. But yeah, fair play to Nick. He did a really solid job. Like, I'll book one of his events without even thinking about it in future because that if something happens.
Well, fortunately, I received my sponsorship payment back. I received my ticket payment back. I didn't get booked. I never got charged for the hotel in the first place. It was just that pesky Delta that refused to give me cash back. They gave us a credit that I have to purchase tickets with the credit by November, which isn't the worst.
Yeah, that was BA's policy, but I got my money back in cash.
Yeah, I have the big $1,400 credit because I was going to go to New York first and hang out with you, and then it was originally November or whatever, and then they added on another 6 months. I think they'll keep adding on as long as this drags on.
Yeah, they can't expect, if flying regularly opens up, say in October or something, they can't expect all of you to be available to fly and use up your credits in 4 weeks. That's ridiculous. I mean, I think Delta will be reasonable. I mean, at least with Delta, though, they're definitely going to survive. Like, a lot of airlines were trying to issue credits in Europe that you're pretty suspicious they're going to make it. Like, Delta made, 4 billion in profit last year. Like, some of these airlines, made 100 million or something on the same revenue as Delta, near enough. So yeah, at least Delta's got some cash.
Yeah, Delta has their revenue, profits, and then Amex just bought $1 billion of miles from them.
Yep.
So Delta should.
I mean, Amex bailed them out that last crash as well. I mean, Delta doesn't really have to worry while they've got such a tight partnership with a very profitable bank. It's, I mean, I wouldn't have been worried about international airline groups going bust either with BA. I just wanted the money back.
Yeah.
Rather than the credit. So, I mean, they're still going ahead with buying another airline. They're buying Air Europa in Spain. And they're pressing ahead with purchase. So, I mean, they're not worried about cash.
I'll tell you, as soon as I'm allowed to, I'm just fucking booking a ticket somewhere, and we'll have an impromptu SEO meetup in I don't know, Austin, Texas. Well,
that's the ridiculous thing here is the way the law's been done. I can't travel to Heathrow in London, but if I was if I was in London, really close to Heathrow, I could, and it was easy to get there without getting stopped or anyone being suspicious while you were so far away from home. There's no restriction on you leaving the country, getting on a plane, flying to Sweden. There's no border control there for people in Europe.
So
they have no lockdown.
In England, they're actually checking people.
Not much, no.
Oh.
It would be just it would be just my luck to get a taxi to the airport and get stopped on the way down.
They started They started the Big Brother fascist shit here in New York this week. They're starting to arrest people. They arrested one guy for getting a haircut. They arrested a mother who was out trying to earn money for food for her children. And in New York, the governor
Well, the
here
Chicago mayor gets a haircut because she's got to look good. She's on television, don't you know?
The mayor just announced yesterday or the day before that they're considering getting rid of schools in all of New York and only doing distance learning permanently.
Oh, Jesus.
Just because it's quote unquote working well. And why?
How is it working well? It's fucking up a generation of kids. How's that working well?
We better not go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, let's end it there, guys.
Yeah, all right. Well, things are tuning in. We should be back next week. I don't know, but
probably.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be back again at least once this month, anyway. Probably next week.
All right. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I gotta do some editing quick in the beginning of the video, but that's just a few seconds. And email Sassy Steve your SEO questions because no one ever does.
I had one tweet ever. Tweet me at SD Brownlee on Twitter. Any questions, we'll definitely talk on the show.
Yes.
All right.
And stay